really with any change in behavior that we're trying to coach people around, we focus on three steps, three broad steps: intention, reflection, and action. And intention really is about setting your mind towards making that change. You have to be open to that change. So if you're not willing to, whether it's addressing a self-limiting belief, whether it's you want to develop better executive presence, you want to work on your communication, you want to work on your ability to empower people, you've got to be committed to actually make a change and get better at it. So that's the first piece. The second, which is really where a lot of the work and the deep introspection comes, is around reflection. So reflecting on the past experiences, what you extract from those stories and those experiences, and then action. So it's basically, what am I going to actually do? What am I going to commit to bring that intention to life, to combine that intention with that reflection in terms of action? But as it applies to self-limiting beliefs and how you can extract that, the easiest way is if you're working with somebody. Obviously, if I'm coaching somebody, I can catch them on things, oh, I should do that. Oh, I could do that. Or, well, I'm not really ready for that. That's an easy thing as a coach, or even as a manager. If you're not a formal executive coach, just listening for your team members and people that you work with, to just look for cues, look for triggers. Gosh, yeah, I'm not ready for that. Oh, I haven't sold to that audience before. Oh, I haven't done enterprise deals yet. I've only really worked in this mid market, in these small deals, or selling point solutions, whatever it may be. And it's listening for those kinds of cues is really helpful. I would say from an internal perspective, it's, if you find these old tapes, as actually one of my clients starts to refer to these as old tapes, but with an old school reference now that we're all in the digital era. But
Mhm.
what are those old tapes that are spinning and playing in your head? It's whether I'm not good enough, I'm not ready enough, I didn't go to a good enough university, I didn't grow up in the IBM school of sales, or insert company name in terms of that. I haven't had success in selling into the life sciences space. I've only sold to manufacturing. I have only sold to mid marketers, small medium sized business, and not to enterprise types of customers. It's catching yourself and hearing those tapes in your head and just reflecting and doing some even journaling around that. So that's where someone can actually do it for themselves. But honestly, it's going to be easiest if you're managing someone, you're coaching someone, is to really hear these things for what they're saying. And then try to get a sense for more about the reflection is, okay, let's dig into that self-limiting belief. So for me, as I mentioned, it was about writing, and I had to dig into, okay, well, is that really objective data? He said, well, where's that actually coming from? For me, it was because, okay, I got a B plus in college English. I struggled to get a B plus, which doesn't sound terrible, but I was trying to get into med school and be able to control my life in that perspective. And so I read, okay, I can't do this literature thing, so I can't write. So it's like, well, there's no connection. It's okay, let's actually decouple those things. Okay, well, what is it about writing? Do I have really any data that says Darren, you're a bad writer? Are you a luminary? Are you the next Mark Twain? Obviously not. But so it's really getting a sense for, is that really objective in terms of that data points? And then it's about a couple of things, which is, one is, can you fill that negative thought with something positive? Like, even if that sounds a little probably woo woo, but just in terms of having some sort of mantra or just a mindset of like, yeah, I'm a good writer, or I'm a good enough writer. I can write something that's insightful. Are my prose going to be as well written as someone who writes a Malcolm Gladwell or someone like that? I don't know, but do I have insight that's relevant for people, that's interesting for people, that they can actually go and absorb? So in that sense, I was able to replace that thought, or that negative thought, with something different. And then honestly, I think a lot of it is just pushing yourself. If you find yourself feeling uncomfortable, it's actually a good warning sign that you should actually go do that. So for me, it was, okay, well, I'm going to start. And I had this highly curated LinkedIn audience that people had met, clients, people I went to business school with, an undergrad, friends from my life. And it's scary. You have this highly curated network, and now you're actually going to go out and you're going to drop some content on these people, and you're worried about judgment. But for me, it's like, I'm going to toss myself off the cliff and see if I can fly, and just see what kind of feedback I got. So, but that was challenging, right? So it's like pushing yourself, it's replacing some of those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. But those are a couple of things. And that's moving to the action piece in terms of how you can actually overcome some of those self-limiting beliefs.
Cool. And so I think first step is to, like, so if you're coaching somebody, making sure that we're looking at it objectively, looking at the source, and then like where's the data coming from and what supports it.
Yep. Yeah, and
Perfect.
most times it's lack of data, right? It's a person's opinion. It's a comment. It's something even people's families say goes, oh yeah, well, we're the Smiths. We just don't get those kinds of opportunities. Oh, those other folks do. And those
Mm,
are really toxic thoughts and behaviors. And I think those are a lot of people have that based on communities they grew up in, families they grew up in. Maybe they worked for smaller organizations that always looked up to the bigger companies. I
mhm.
know I worked for Accenture, it was a great company, but I always looked in the McKinseys of the world, like, oh, McKinsey, so it's like, oh, I wasn't a McKinsey guy. So there can be things about what companies you worked for, what roles you've had, where you grew up, what your background is, where you went to school, all those kinds of things.